Happy Victory Monday, Big Blue, and oh my goodness, does it feel good. We got a lot to talk about coming up on today's show as the Giants are now 2-3 on the season, and I believe they saved the season with that win over the Seattle Seahawks. If you're pumped up, if you're enjoying Victory Monday, smash that thumbs up icon. Our channel record for likes on a video is 4,473. If you love the Giants, you should hit that thumbs up icon. Let's break a record. Let's be better than we were last week because your football team, they just played their best game of the season. You're watching Giants Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Marshall Green, and man, you never get old. You never get old, Victory Monday. It is good to see you again, my friend. Coming up on today's show, the New York Giants won a football game, but I feel like the story of the game can be told in so many ways. The Giants got great news following this game. That comes from Joe Schoen. That comes from the coaching staff. That comes from the quarterback. And every single player that put on a jersey yesterday contributed to this win. Look, I'm just so proud of this football team. The Giants could have easily mailed it in yesterday after driving all the way down, getting to the 1-inch line, having an opportunity to punch it in on 4th and goal to go up 7-0. And adversity falls at the feet of this team again. You fumble, it's a fumble 6. Instead of being up 7-0, you are down 7-0. A 14-point swing. They easily could have quit. But they are a resilient bunch, man. They overcome adversity. And that is a major credit and a major shout out to Brian Dabo. Your football team plays in a way and they reflect your head coach. And this head coach, Brian Dabo, he has every single player ready to lay it all out on the line, fight until the last whistle, and no matter what happens, find a way to win. Could have gave up against Cleveland. Similar situation. You didn't. You found a way to win, and you did it again yesterday against Seattle. So proud of this team, man. Brian Dabo, you are coaching your tail off. The biggest storyline, that may not even be fair. The storyline I'm most excited about coming out of that Week 5 win, and that's why today's video is titled "The Giants Get Great News After the Win," is that 2024 draft class. The players you picked this past April have catapulted this team, and I believe are going to be the draft class that everyone looks back to when the Giants are looked at as a top team in this league. All of them produced yesterday. Tyrone Tracy, hell of a ball game, my man. Your number was called, and you were ready when your name was put on the depth chart at that RB1 spot due to no Devin Singeltary. 18 carries, 130 yards, 7.2 yards per carry, and there was a lot of holes. Major shout out to the offensive line. They were moving people, but he picked up tough yardage. He created yards over expected. He found hidden yardage. We saw the quickness. We saw the cutback ability. We saw the top end speed, and we saw that he can run through arm tackles. Tyrone Tracy, you are a stud, my man, and I am proud of the way that you played football. Theo Johnson got involved in the action yesterday. A career-high 5 receptions, 48 yards. He showed those soft hands. He showed that athletic profile we talked about for months on this channel. Nice to see the tight end get involved in the game plan, looking like a stud. Tyler Nubin also continues to cook on the defensive end. He's getting better and better and better every single game. He made plays all over the gridiron yesterday. 9 tackles, had a tackle for loss, and someone that pretty much plays every single snap for this defense. He's looking like a stud. And Andrew Phillips, you missed last week against the Cowboys, but you came back, played in limited fashion, but you made your impact felt. What about the third down where he comes off the edge, gets the pressure on Geno Smith? Smith has to dirt the ball, pretty much a turnover on downs. Giants get the ball back, 4 tackles, a quarterback pressure. He has everything you want in a modern-day slot corner. Hats off to Joe Schoen, man. And you know what's crazy? We just talked about 4 players from the 2024 draft class that played their tail off, and the best one of them all, the guy that's going to continue to elevate this offense, Malik Neighbors, did not even play football yesterday. You have legitimately 5 players from this draft class where you drafted just 6 players already making impacts and putting your team in a position to win football games. Joe Schoen, hell of a draft class. Hopefully these guys keep progressing. Awesome, awesome stuff. This is the type of draft class that can catapult a rebuild. Turn this thing around quickly. And you got 5 guys, in my opinion, that are studs. And in my opinion, maybe the best offensive weapon coming out of that class. Whew. That draft class is special, man. Giants got a dope RB in Tyrone Tracy. And we told you about him back in March. Who gets the Week 5 game ball, though? You can go to Daniel Jones, and go to Tyrone Tracy, and go to the offensive line, and go to the defensive line, and go to the coaching staff. I think you can give this game ball to anybody. When you get hit with that YouTube ad break, scroll on down while it plays, and let me know who gets the Week 5 game ball. Coming into today's game, or I guess yesterday's game, Sunday's game, in our pregame show, my biggest question was, who are the New York Giants? What are the New York Giants good at? What is the identity of this football team? And after I watched the game yesterday, and I went back and watched it when I got home, and I watched them all 22 before making this video, the New York Giants have an identity. And it is a team that controls the line of scrimmage. They play smash mouth football. They are going to hit you in the mouth for all 60 minutes. They're going to overcome adversity, and they are going to fight until the last whistle, and that clock has 4 zeros across it. Your defensive line, you have the number 1 sack rate in the National Football League. The big dogs, they're playing big-time football. And something that stuck with me was when Carl Banks tweeted out earlier this week, shout out to Carl, that's my guy, tweet out and said, to win football games, your best players have to play like the best players. And the guys on your D-line, they did that yesterday. We'll talk about that. Your offensive line, you have the 11th best sack rate in the National Football League. You are a top 12 pass-protecting offensive line. So you're punching people in the mouth on defense, you're getting after the quarterback, and you're also moving people and keeping DJ upright in the pocket. The identity of this football team is controlling the line of scrimmage and playing with heart. As much as the D-line deserves credit, man, I got to give major love to the big boys up front. Andrew Thomas, John Runyon, John Michael Schmitz, Greg Van Roten, Jermaine Illuminor, an unbelievable performance. Daniel Jones had all the time in the world. And most importantly, the thing that's sticking with me the most, for the first time this season, they were moving people in the run blocking department. They've been shaky in that so far, but they dominated the defensive line of the Seattle Seahawks. There were levees and creases and holes that semi-trucks could have fit through yesterday. Tyrone Tracy, he took advantage of his opportunities, but the offensive line, man, hand in hand, they whooped the tails of the defensive line for Seattle. And your defensive line, they whooped the tails of the Seattle Seahawks offensive line. The Giants had 7 sacks yesterday, getting their season total up to 22 sacks on the season, number 1 in the NFL. I've said this quote probably about 500 times on this show. If the Giants are going to win football games this year, if the Giants are going to be playing meaningful football late into the year when the weather gets cold outside, you want to compete in the NFC East, it's going to be because of your front 7 on defense. Number 97, number 0, and number 5 have to dominate football games. I tweeted out, if the Giants are going to win, it's going to be because of these 3. And they were the ones that led the charge. Dexter Lawrence, 3 sacks on the day. Brian Burns, a huge stop on 4th down. Kayvon Thibodeau with a half a sack on 3rd down, where Burns, Lawrence, and Kayvon Thibodeau all won on the rep. If you haven't had a chance to go back and just watch some individual Dexter Lawrence film from yesterday's game, go and do it, man. That guy's the best defensive player in football, and I'm really not sure who number 2 is. Brian Burns, play after play after play. That's why you go out and you give a guy $150 million. That's why you trade a 2nd-round pick. You hold the number 1 passing offense in the National Football League to 231 yards. You had a turnover. You had 7 sacks. You give up just 330 yards of offense. You held their running backs to 30 yards rushing. Geno had a couple of nice scrambles, but outside of that offense for Seattle, they were stalled out. Giants were Dabo. They stalled them out. They showed up and they showed out, man. Shane Bowen, I thought you coached a terrible game in week 1. I thought the game plan against Minnesota was terrible, and I thought you had a bad game plan and execution in week 2. But in week 3, week 4, and week 5, you have coached your tail off. The Giants lead the NFL in sacks, And I don't even think that they're top 5 in blitz rate. Unbelievable job by Shane Bowen, this defense as a whole. Another game where you give up just one offensive touchdown. Whew, this football team, they're getting better every week, and that's all you can ask for. You got an identity. Smash mouth football. Control the line of scrimmage. I love this stuff, man. We got more stuff to talk about, but first I got to give a major shout out to today's sponsor, Game Time. If you're looking for last-minute tickets to go to a Giants game this year, you want to get ready to go to an NBA or an NHL game this year, do it with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use that promo code CHATSPORTS, and you're going to get $20 off your first purchase where terms do apply. You get the best seats for the lowest prices guaranteed. Prices actually drop as the events get closer, and the app has all these awesome features. Like you get to view the seats from inside the app. They have an all-in pricing feature. That way the price you see is the price you pay. You don't get hit with all these hidden fees at checkout, and the Game Time Picks feature. It makes going to watch your favorite people perform, go to a game, concert, that much easier. So download the Game Time app. Use that promo code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS, for $20 off your first purchase where terms do apply. Also just want to give some love to the rest of the people on the defensive line here. Keem Nunez-Roches, he had a half a sack. DJ Davidson, they're saying, had 2 sacks. Brian Burns had a sack. Kayvon Thibodeau had half a sack. Geno Smith was under pressure all day long, and that was my number one key to victory. Get home with 4. The Giants did that. And look, Daniel Jones, man, that's how you play football. That's how you lead a team to victory. No wide receiver 1, no running back, 7-point dogs, cross-country flight, and you show out, and you show up, and you play your best football game since you beat Minnesota in their stadium back in January of 2023. 23 of 34, 257 yards, 2 touchdowns, a beautiful throw to Darius Slayton on the deep over route for a touchdown. 2 plays before that, everyone's talking about his deep ball. I'm crushing him for his deep ball. I'll stand up here and say it. I don't believe in Daniel Jones. But he served me some humble pie yesterday, and damn did it taste good. That throw to Darius Slayton on the go route where he got the BS penalty for point for the first down maybe was the best throw I've seen Daniel Jones make in his career. On time, on target, just enough room inside the out of bounds for Darius Slayton to toe tap and keep it in. Awesome, awesome stuff, DJ. You deserve a lot of credit, my man. And I know everyone's taking their victory lap, and you know what? You can have that. You should be proud of that. Go do it again. Go do it again. You don't get paid $46 million to do it one time. And I'm happy you did it. I'm proud of you. Shoot, I'm an idiot. You made me look like one. Make me look like another idiot again on Sunday Night Football. Go beat the Cincinnati Bengals on prime time, under the lights, against Joe Burrow. Then the narrative will switch. Played your ass off 8. Wish you would have finished the game on your own terms at the end, but you played great. Mistake-free football. Best game you've played in over a calendar year, man. I'm proud of the way he played football. Get your 8s going in the chat. Show our guys some love, even if you don't believe in him. Because as long as he's under center, and I think if you were here for the watch party, I'm going to be rooting my tail off for him every week. Darius Slayton, I've also been very critical of him. Has not had a good season so far prior to yesterday. Dropping the football, not getting open, but when his number was called, when Malik Neighbors couldn't play football, they called up 86, and he delivered. Had a bad drop at the beginning of the game, but he finished off the day, 8 grabs, 122 yards, nasty catch on the sideline, touchdown reception over the middle, 15.2 yards per catch. Darius Slayton, that's a hell of a game. 86-8. They were the straw that stirred the drink for this Big Blue offense. And on defense, Deontay Banks, that's how you respond, my man. That's how you show up. Last year, you gave up a touchdown to DK Metcalf. You said in the offseason, DK Metcalf talked more smack to me than anybody else in my rookie year. You gave BS effort last week on that CeeDee Lamb touchdown. You got called out by your team. You got called out by your teammates. And what'd you do? You responded. And that is something that I can fall in love with. The banks were closed when he was covering DK Metcalf. When 3 was in coverage on DK Metcalf, Metcalf ran 35 routes. He had 4 targets for 2 catches and 24 yards. Not against Metcalf. Not against Banks. Metcalf ran 12 routes, 3 targets, 2 catches, 31 yards. The Banks were closed, my man. That's what we need. That's why you draft a corner in the first round. That's why you go out and trade up 1 pick to get a guy. You were awesome yesterday, Mr. Deontay Banks. The punch out on DK as well. Going to give Bobby Okereke some credit on that. We've been waiting for the Okereke splash play, and Banks and Okereke, little Peanut Tillman punch out, got the Giants the football. And that felt like when that was the moment, it felt like the game started to change. That's when the momentum shifted in the direction of the New York Football Giants. We needed you to play big time yesterday, and you delivered. Hell of a game, Deontay Banks. Also, Brian Dabo. At one point, I didn't think he was the right guy for the job. And you know what? Ever since then, he's proved me wrong. Every week, the offense has got better. Every week, it's gotten easier, it looks like, on offense. And as the offensive coordinator, as the play caller, Brian Dabo deserves a lot of credit for that. 420 yards, 245 through the air, 175 on the ground. Carmen Priscillo, shout out to you. That's some dominant interior offensive line play. You had 1 turnover. You know what? You overcame it. Dominated time of possession. People are running open. Wandale's open on the touchdown. Slayton's open on the touchdown. Let's just start punching it in the red zone. Let's get 7s. Let's not get 3s. And let's find a way to finish drives. Dabo deserves a lot of credit, man. It was going to be a process. It was going to take time. You don't just take 2 years off of calling plays and get back to it week 1 and right on the money. Whether you think you called plays, whatever it was last year, I think it's different when you are officially titled as the OC. A lot of love for Brian Dabo, man. He's proven that he's the guy for this job. He is coaching his tail off, and he's got his team fighting for him. They easily could have quit. They didn't. Also want to give a major shout-out to Isaiah Simmons and a major shout-out to Bryce Ford-Wheaton. Isaiah Simmons didn't log a single defensive snap yesterday. He could have went out there on that field goal attempt to tie it and send it to OT for Seattle and gave piss-poor effort. He could have felt sorry for himself, but you know what? His number was called, and he was ready to make a play, and he made the play that won him the game. Bryce Ford-Wheaton, right spot, right time, scoop and score, athleticism on display. A lot of love for Isaiah Simmons. Yesterday, didn't go his way. This season hasn't gone his way. But he didn't quit. He didn't pout. He stayed ready, so he didn't have to get ready, and he made a play that we will forever remember. Next step for this team, end the game on your own terms. You had the ball 2 times in the fourth quarter as the clock was bleeding out, where you could have went and put them out of their misery. Let's stack first downs. Let's not allow them to get into field goal range. And let's enter victory formation before we got to have a blocked field goal to go win the game. You should have won that game by a lot more. I'm not upset that that's not what happened. But that tells me they can get better. And that fires me up. Go win the game on your own accord next week against Cincinnati, where you enter as 3.5-point dogs. 3.5-point home dogs against the Cincinnati Bengals. There's some chitter-chatter across the NFL about maybe these Giants are a little better. They're the only team to hold a lead against the Minnesota Vikings. You should have beat the Washington Commanders. You should have beat the Dallas Cowboys. A lot of people think this team's heating up and they're getting better every week, and I can co-sign that. You want to change the narrative? You don't want to be looked at as a joke anymore? Go and beat the Cincinnati Bengals on Sunday Night Football. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Sub for dubs. If you're watching this far in the show and you're not subscribed, please change it. Hit that big red sub button. Over 60,000 people tuned into our watch party yesterday. The #1 place on Giants YouTube. If you love the Giants and you want to beat the Bengals, subscribe to the channel. And let's go, Big Blue.